Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are putting a magnifying glass on one of the most volatile currencies in the creative world.
Oh yeah, volatile is definitely the right word for it. We're talking about artistic risk.
Exactly. It's that terrifying moment when a creator looks at a formula that is just printing money-winning fans and working perfectly.
And decides to just light a match and burn it down.
Right, just to see what they can build from the ashes.
It's the classic Dylan going electric moment. It's the pivot.
Yeah, and usually in the highly manufactured, incredibly high-stakes world of K-pop, the standard operating procedure is basically, if it ain't broke, for the love of God, don't fix it.
Right, just rinse, repeat, and cash the check.
Exactly. But today we are looking at a group that looked at their winning streak and took a really hard left turn. We are talking about 17 and their 2017 release, Don't Wanna Cry.
Which is such a fascinating case study, because looking back from where we stand now, it's easy to see it as a classic.
Oh, for sure.
But in May 2017, this was a massive gamble that could have alienated their entire core fan base.
So let's set the scene for you. It's May 22, 2017. 17 drops their EP L1.
Right.
Now, if you were a Carrot, that's a fan of the group. Up until this point, you had a very specific image in your head. We're talking about what they called the fresh teen energy.
Yeah, think of songs like Adore You, Man C. Very nice. It was highly theatrical. It was high energy and deeply influenced by funk and hip-hop.
Bright colors, school uniforms, all of that.
Exactly. They had carved out this very specific niche of being the happy boy group in a sea of generally much darker concepts.
And then Don't Wanna Cry happens, and suddenly the funk guitars are just gone.
Completely gone.
The bright smiles are gone, and we are plunged into this moody, atmospheric soundscape.
And that's really the mission of this deep dive today.
Yeah.
We aren't just recounting a release. We want to understand the actual mechanics of this pivot.
Right.
How did a single track shift the group's entire identity from boyish charm to emotional maturity?
So we're going to look at that move into EDM and electropop, the visual rebranding, and of course...
We have to talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh yeah, the elephant. It's a big one today.
It really is. We're going to unpack the controversy regarding the songwriting credits.
Okay.
Because there's a very complex story there involving plagiarism accusations and some massive Western superstars.
It totally challenges our understanding of independent creation.
Absolutely.
It's a story that involves legal maneuvering that would make a corporate lawyer sweat, honestly. And just to be clear, we're pulling this from a stack of data regarding the composition chart performance, the music video production, and the official statements from Pledis Entertainment at the time.
So let's get right into the sound. Because this wasn't just a new song, it was a total sonic rebrand.
Completely. As we said, the previous DNA of the group was very hip-hop based. But Don't Wanna Cry is pure 2017 EDM pop.
It's built on these washout synths, a very specific beat drop, and this deeply melancholy melody.
And 2017 was the peak year for that sound, right? I mean, it felt like every song on the radio had that drop instead of a traditional chorus.
It was the Chainsmokers era, effectively, and that's exactly where the risk lies. For a K-pop group known for a unique, funky sound to suddenly pivot to the dominant Western radio trend, that is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, you risk looking like you're chasing a trend rather than setting one.
Or worse, you risk sounding like everyone else.
And the lyrics shifted drastically, too. We went from, you're pretty let's date to, well, pure misery.
Yeah, Don't Wanna Cry is a straight-up breakup anthem. It's all about loneliness, regret, that empty post-breakup feeling.
It's a maturation of their narrative. I mean, you can't stay the high school crush group forever.
Yeah.
But you have to wonder what the atmosphere was actually like in the recording studio. They had to have known this was a massive departure.
Oh, they definitely knew.
Yeah, I actually found this interview with Teen Vogue from around that time.
Yeah.
And DK, who is usually the human embodiment of sunshine for the group, was pretty candid about the fear they were feeling.
Oh, really? What did he say?
He admitted that even before the comeback, the group was just full of worry. He said, quote, "We wondered how our fans and the public would react and if they would even like it." Yeah, and he explicitly called it a very different sound.
That anxiety is so real.
Yeah.
You have to understand, in K-pop, the relationship with the fandom is totally symbiotic.
Right, it's everything.
If you release something that feels inauthentic, or if the fans feel like you've lost the spark that made them stan you in the first place, the backlash can be swift. They were walking a serious tightrope.
And yet, ironically, the backlash didn't actually come from the fans disliking the new style.
No, it didn't.
The backlash came from somewhere else entirely. So let's talk about that controversy.
Plagiarism accusation.
Yeah. So the song drops, everyone is streaming it, And almost immediately, the internet does what the internet does. People started pointing fingers and saying, wait a minute, I know this song.
Which is the nightmare scenario for literally any songwriter.
Listeners started drawing immediate comparisons to something just like this, that massive collaboration between the Chainsmokers and Coldplay.
Right.
And look, I've listened to them back to back as part of the research. I'm not a musicologist, but even I raised an eyebrow.
It's hard not to. When you look at the structure, the way the verse builds into the pre-chorus, and specifically the synth design in the drop, the similarities are striking.
Yeah.
It shares that exact same mid-tempo, sentimental EDM progression.
It's basically the millennial whoop of synth drops.
Exactly. And in 2017, that sound was just ubiquitous, which really complicates things.
Yeah.
Was it actually plagiarism? Or was it just two different groups drinking from the exact same creative well of current trends?
Right.
But the public perception was tilting dangerously toward ripoff.
So put yourself in the shoes of Pledis Entertainment here. You've got your star group. They've just taken this massive artistic risk to mature their sound.
Yeah.
And now the headline isn't 17 matures, it's 17 accused of plagiarism. What do you even do in that situation?
Well, you deny it. You release a statement saying, we hired 3 professors of music theory who say the chord progressions are completely different, and you just ride out the storm. That's the industry standard playbook.
But Pledis didn't do that.
No, they did something actually very rare. They updated the copyright credits.
And this is where my jaw literally hit the floor when I was reading the source notes. They didn't just add a generic interpolation credit or something quiet. They added the absolute titans of the industry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at the official writers list for Don't Wanna Cry right now. You've got the 17 members, Woozy, Vernon Hoshi Jongin, and their producer Bumzu. Standard stuff.
Right.
But then Andrew Taggart.
Of the Chainsmokers.
And then it continues. Guy Berryman, Johnny Buckland, Will Champion, and Chris Martin.
Literally the entire roster of Coldplay.
So essentially, they handed a piece of the song's ownership and the royalties that come with it to some of the richest musicians on earth.
Yes, they did.
Now, be real with me here. Doesn't that look like a massive admission of guilt? I mean, you don't just give Chris Martin a check if you didn't take his song.
That is definitely the cynical view, and frankly, it's a view a lot of netizens took at the time. They were saying, see, they admitted it. But we have to look at the official statement Pledis released, because it is an absolute masterclass in corporate gymnastics.
Oh, I have it right here. They maintained firmly that Don't Wanna Cry was independently created by 17. They stood by their artists 100%.
So you have this wild contradiction. We made this ourselves. It's totally original. But here's a songwriting credit for Coldplay.
So why do it? Why give up the money and the credit if you actually believe you're innocent?
Because of the what if. Pledis stated the move was to protect the artist from potential legal issues. You have to think about the power dynamic here.
Okay.
On one side, you have a K-pop agency, successful, sure, but not a global monopoly. On the other side, you have the combined legal might of the Chainsmokers and Coldplay, backed by massive Western labels.
It's essentially David versus 2 very well-funded Goliaths.
Exactly. Even if Pledis was 90% sure they could win in court, the cost of that battle, both financial and reputational, would be catastrophic.
Because a copyright lawsuit drags on for years, right?
Years. It freezes the song's revenue. It completely dominates the news cycle every time the group comes up. By giving the credit, they essentially paid a go-away fee.
Wow, it's risk management. They sacrificed a slice of the pie to ensure the bakery didn't get shut down entirely.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's a settlement without a trial.
Right.
And honestly, from a purely business perspective, it was brilliant.
How so?
The moment those names appeared in the credits, the scandal effectively ended. The legal threat just evaporated, and 17 could go right back to promoting the song.
It's really fascinating how independent creation can be so fluid when lawyers and risk managers get involved. But let's shift and talk about that promotion, because despite that whole legal cloud hovering over them, they still had to sell this brand new sad boy image.
And this is where the visuals really come in. You can't sell a moody song like this with a bright box set in the studio. You need real atmosphere.
So they flew the entire production over to Los Angeles, USA.
Which was a statement in itself.
The video is gorgeous. It's got that vast, desolated LA landscape, the desert vibes, the dramatic rooftop shots. The source actually describes it as the group melancholically expressing their regrets.
Yeah.
And it feels lonely, even though there are literally 13 of them on screen.
And that visual isolation was so crucial to the pivot. It communicated the theme of the song instantly to the viewer.
Yeah.
But I want to pivot to the performance aspect because this is where 17 really separates themselves from the pack.
Right. Because usually when a boy band does a sad song or a ballad, the choreography kind of takes a back seat. You get a lot of standing around, maybe some dramatic hand gestures or sitting on stools.
But 17 is known specifically for their synchronization. They are performance monsters.
Right.
So even for a track like Don't Want to Cry, they didn't dial it down at
Oh,
all.
they didn't.
They created a choreography that was incredibly intricate, kinetic, and honestly just difficult.
It's iconic now. The opening formation, the kneeling parts, it's arguably some of their most famous choreography ever.
And the industry recognized that.
Yeah.
We have to mention the 2017 MMA Awards.
The Mnet Asian Music Award.
Exactly. They won Best Dance Performance for a male group. Think about the weight of that.
Okay.
They didn't win Best Ballad or Best Vocal. They won Best Dance Performance with a song about heartbreak and trying.
That is a massive flex because it proves that they didn't just borrow a Western sound. They made it entirely their own through their performance. They translated that EDM drop into physical movement in a way that the Chainsmokers certainly weren't doing.
Exactly. It completely validated the artistic risk. It showed that they could change the genre, change the vibe, but keep their core competency, which is that elite performance, totally intact.
So we've got the risk, the scandal, the video, the dance. The big question you have to ask is, did it work? When the dust finally settled, was the juice worth the squeeze?
If you look at the scoreboard, the answer is an overwhelming yes.
Let's run those numbers then. In South Korea, it was a smash. It hit #1 on the K-pop Hot 100. It peaked at #12 on the Gaon digital chart.
Which is highly impressive for a boy group, since the general public charts over there are usually dominated by girl groups or soloists.
But the international numbers are where I think that Western sound really paid off. It peaked at #3 on the U.S. World Digital Songs chart by Billboard.
That proves the pivot worked globally. By adopting that trending EDM sound, they effectively lowered the barrier to entry for Western listeners.
Right.
It sounded familiar to an American ear, which likely helped pull in totally new fans who might have found their older fresh teen stuff a little too distinctively K-pop.
And the longevity is there too. I was looking at the Japanese certifications, and the song went gold under the RIAJ.
And that is specifically for streaming, right?
Right. Specifically streaming over 50 million streams. That's not just a dedicated fan base mass buying physical CDs in the first week.
No.
That is sustained, casual, and dedicated listening over years in the second largest music market in the world.
It really cemented their place in Japan. And honestly, the critical reception helped quite a bit too. We talked earlier about their fear of alienation, but critics actually praised the song as a transition.
Yeah, they really did.
They used words specifically like mature and evolved to describe it.
Which is kind of funny, right? The very thing they were terrified of, people saying, oh, it's too different, became the main selling point. Oh, listen to how mature and different they are now.
It's the paradox of artistry in pop music. You almost have to risk losing your audience to actually grow your audience.
Well, yeah.
If they had just released Very Nice 2.0, the reviews might have been 17 is stagnant. By taking the risk, they forced the industry to take them seriously as artists who could tackle complex adult emotions.
And they swept the music shows. For you listeners who track the day-to-day promotional battles, they were completely unstoppable in mid-2017.
It was a clean sweep. The show Music Bank Show Champion M Countdown. From late May through mid-June, they were picking up trophies practically every other day.
And remember, this is all happening while the plagiarism accusations are actively flying around on social media.
That's the most crucial point. The data shows that while the scandal was loud in the comments sections, it didn't stop the general public from listening at all.
Not a bit.
The song was simply too good, and the performance was too compelling. The controversy essentially became a footnote to the success.
It really is a case study in crisis management and artistic evolution rolled into one single comeback. You take the huge risk, you hit a nasty legal speed bump, you pay the toll, and you just keep speeding toward #1.
It truly marked the end of their rookie era. Before Don't Want to Cry, they were the talented, energetic kids. After this, they were a top-tier group capable of weathering a storm and seriously evolving their sound.
And now looking back, it's impossible to imagine their discography without this track. It really opened the door for all the emotional and complex tracks that came later in their career.
It definitely did. It proved that they could be vulnerable and massively successful at the very same time.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the high-stakes world of 2017 K-pop, we're left with a pretty incredible story of survival and success. But before we sign off, we want to leave you with a thought to kind of chew on.
We talked a lot about that independent creation defense versus the reality of the songwriting credits. And it raises a question that gets harder and harder to answer every single year.
What's that?
Well, we live in a hyper-connected world now. We're all consuming the exact same viral trends, the same 15-second audio clips, the same global hits.
Right.
In that environment, where does independent creation end and unconscious inspiration begin? Can anyone truly write a song that is 100% original anymore? Or are we all just kind of remixing the things that are constantly stuck in our heads?
And if the result is a masterpiece that 50 million people want to stream over and over again, does it even matter where the inspiration came from?
That is the real question.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll catch you on the next one.